Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are having a great evening. I'm making a quick video today. Um, we're all connected to the chakras. There's different levels of connection that we have, and um, quite simple. We're talking about the that thing that I was going to explain to you. The in my previous video, I said I explained something to you. I'm going to let you know something of what was just said and just quickly get that out there so we can be on the same page right away, not wait too long, right? Um, so they said, I don't remember very well what the conversation was about, but they're the ones from the super universe, right? The higher level. And there are seven of them. They have the almond eyes, gray, metallic skin, and they present themselves to be very, very nice, right? Um, they're the ones that taught you what I know already, whereas you can hear the voice, the echo for yourself before you hear the source of that. You know, so you can be inside here and you'd already know for yourself what's going to be said before it's said, right? And then that's what I would call the echo effect, where you already know your answer before you ask the question. Sometimes it happens to me. I get that. Where I just already figured out the answer, then I haven't asked the question yet. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. So let's just get right to it. I'll probably get up and kind of maybe show you a few things here and there. So what they were showing me is something, a video I've already made, where I'm explaining to you. It's a video where I'm explaining to you already what's what's already happened. Again, I saw this in a dream state. Not It's not a dream state. You're not really dreaming, right? Um you're conscious that you're not here on earth and that somebody pulled your higher self in your light body, in a white robe light body, right? And they pull you up and then they just show you things and start talking to you. I mean, this is only just the third dimension. There's hundreds and hundreds of dimensions to go. So when you come from your heart, right, and you have your family member with you, you have a conversation with individuals here. Like we could have a conversation, and we have. And one of the first thing I told you was, I hunt down reptilians. It's what I do. I know who I am, right? And then you were asking about your family member, and I, I scanned this person's energy, and I didn't quite get much, but I can see that there are higher in dimensions. What I saw was that their body was their body, but you're not looking at that. You're looking at their aura, right? That energy field around them, and then what's that tube of light that's above them, and what they represent. So it's very, and it's like this for everyone. It's white light, a white tube of light, and it's at this age, it's pure still, and I understand where you might want to be protective because when I had that conversation with you before, right? So then you understand that there time travel here, right? You understand that concept of time travel, and I really like what you said about how people are afraid to admit that they're wrong in a lot of ways. There's this holding back, and I have a story about that, which is it blew me away. It helped me because you can take things either way. You can look at a situation and think, "Oh, dang it," you go down that stream, or you can just take it as a moment to reflect and think. So I'm pulling out of a driveway. I'm pulling out. It's dark, and then this SUV just drives so close and so fast. Now, I'm not genderizing anything, but it was a woman in the car who drove past me. She stopped. She came over to me and she said, "Oh, you got to be careful because what are you doing? Now, mind you, to my credit, I was backing away slowly because it was a dark place in the road where you couldn't see anything, and she was driving very fast. But the fact that it was just me and her, and there was no one would admit, she wouldn't admit that she was going fast, but her response to me was that I was wrong and she wasn't wrong. So think about you hanging around people or experiencing other people's that are afraid to say that they're wrong, or is there anyone that's never wrong about anything? I'm cautious about a person that seems to think they're always right. That's not natural human behavior to think that you're always right all the time. There's a word for that. Um, yeah, so I like that you said that you were pulling away from that thought pattern and moving towards something different because it is different, something new because it's a new experience, right? You're opening up what's out there, and for me, and that happened like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but still, the experience of that's because not that there was any fault either way, but it was just me and you. So you know how fast you were going. I know what the way I was pulling out of the driveway, how fast that was too. So to blame in that way and just not be conscious of pushing and making sure that I'm not wrong, you're right. There's a level of holding on to that you're doing, right? That and you're not afraid to let go. So if you don't experience that other side, you're not going to grow because you're always right. And if you're right, then there's nothing new to learn. Is there ever a time when there isn't anything new to learn in life, right? I know people that you look at them and they're stuck forever. Their mind has experienced and been through things that puts them in a time frame. And I think I'm even in a situation like that right now in my life. And it's important to understand first that that theirs isn't right or there's something that can change, then move towards that change. And then it'll just be a stepping stone. Like I've said before, going in the direction that's up in the staircase, right? Not going down in a way from uh, making your life better. Just, there's no degrading part of life like that where you want people to feel pity for you or you want somebody to pat you on the back all the time or just show you that there's enough of you to make yourself conscious if you just ask the right questions so you can move in that direction. So I felt your energy and I spoke to you. I told you I was a lion, and then I felt that you just blocked your consciousness away from me. You kept doing your thing, right, with your family member. And then later I recall that you asked about her specifically, right? Because what happened was then in that moment you felt my presence, and it's just like mixing oil and water. We're different, obviously. Everyone's unique, right? But still, you felt a different kind of presence. Now, when it comes to talking about these beings, which is the subject of the situation, you know, they make you feel good, right? They send that kind of energy towards you specifically about um, who they are, what they do. All right, so I'm just going to move away from that and I'm just going to explain what happened to me then, which is strange because it was years ago. And I put it in a video a few years ago too. But now you get to actually experience this for yourself, so they're telling me to tell you, "Hey, show them what we've showed you already," right? In that case, so you can speed along the knowledge because you already put together all these puzzle pieces. You're just missing pieces, and there's things that I can tell you about who are they, right? So the super universe and etc. I drew this up real quick today, actually, this afternoon, and they took me to a room where there was a back wall. The back wall had a table. The table had a checkered thing to it, right? Like a mantle, a checkered mantle. On top of the mantle, there were Egyptian symbols. I think I don't want to say them because I really don't remember, but I think it was a scarab, the beetle, and there was a few more, uh, maybe like one or two more. But I think the scarab, and I'm really not sure about this. I can't recall. Either way, I did see symbols though, and they reminded me of Egyptian symbols. Maybe if I look at them, all of them in the alphabet, I'll recall a little better. But I don't think I might be going back to this video again. They're Egyptian symbols. That's fine. And then they said, "Come here, look over here." And then they really loved this technology that they had for themselves, and what they showed me with it, which was then um, the Big Bang. Right? The Big Bang is the event that we know exists because of how Earth and everything else was created. These are stars, these are universes, and they go all the way down towards the timeline. So what's interesting about this is it was on the ground, right? It was the floorboards were like this on the ground, and he took one of these squares and he pulled it up and he showed me the Big Bang, the universes, the stars, and all this other stuff in a cylinder that came up. He just showed it to me like that. Like, look, look what we have. It's like talking to a child, right? So that's what they were showing me. They, them, you know, just wanted to show me this, and now I get to tell you about it, and it's not doesn't feel for you. It doesn't feel to you weird because this happened, right? Um, so there's that, and and they were just happy to show me that. They were excited. I felt great to know. So we're in this Big Bang event that they created themselves for us, with the rules of how to work universes, how to manage planets, how to deal with, you know, um, just the mechanics of how the Earth and rotations and everything goes on. You know, so there's that, which is I don't want to overstate the importance, but I think you can put that piece together yourself now. All right, so the next big thing I want to move on before it's too long of a video. So the Syrians did come. They took two reptilians with them. They're going to find a place to bring more reptilians out of this planet. So this is why you are feeling this way. You are growing. Your consciousness is going up, and the way your consciousness goes up is that you can feel and understand and just decipher the third dimensional sphere for yourself, right? That it's created. You can control that. You can understand it, and you can shift or migrate or move over and navigate the whole process, the whole mechanical, tangible part of being 3D, right? There's a template to 3D, right? So again, this dimension through the sixth dimension, there's a pattern. There's a mechanism that allows souls to start to evolve. We're in charge of this low dimension vibration to make sure that we can separate the wheat from the shaft and grow out humans, right? Grow the consciousness of the physical being, and then have the souls within these bodies to grow, right? There's just have these souls grow, have them grow up. and evolve. So at some point, this planet will be a permanent 5D planet, right? And then the the mechanism for it to function the way it has to, it's gonna go away, right? Then there's some other planet somewhere that's gonna be in the same predicament where there's a 3D process like this, but there are basic underlying principles of what a third dimension is, right? Um, it's all around you: greed, lust, hate, you know, deceit, all these things that swirl and just allow the individual that's ready to understand it, accept it, because it's not just one lifetime. For you, it might seem like it's just this one, but there's so many there to grow. And what is not understood easily, and it's just about what I explained here, right? In this little dot to dot, this thing is great. When I was doing this, I felt just as relieved as I did when I showed you the illustration I drew. Just like that kind of calmness and relief. You look at the time and you wonder what half an hour, 45 minutes went. You feel like you were just sitting there for 2 or 3. It's a good feeling. But the constant pursuing, the and I think you can call these human bodies just an advanced ape body, and I'm using the word ape on purpose. You know where we're going with this. Whereas just an accelerated, advanced body, right? That we inherited from the Anunnaki, and it needs a lot of catching up to do. It wasn't a natural evolution in the way you see evolution. It was an evolution that happened that didn't quite evolve each of the centers of the the human. The three brains that you have: the reptilian brain, there's a middle brain. I think there's the part here in that gray matter area. There's your feelings, right? There's your reptilian. I'm saying reptilian, the feeling part of you, and then there's the intelligent part of you, which is all mixed in together. They put it in together just so it can work and function the way they want to. And that's what we are inherited, because then now we're the ones that have to figure it all out, right? We're the ones that now have to go through this and just continue the process of evolution. But and here we are. So the most important thing was what I said about the reptilians, the liberation of your higher dimensional, you know, the reptilians leaving the planet causes the planet to increase in frequency because they left. It's just so very dense. They're taken away. They're going to find the moon, then they're going to bring out all the other reptilians. And each one of us is doing their own work on this planet, own little thing going on, right? And then the illustrations that I told you about, those higher, even higher dimensional beings than us, and how they were able to show me a Big Bang event as a sort of thing that they do. He lifted that up the ground. He showed me the Big Bang, and he asked to let you know about this. And that's only the only two takeaways. You want to know more about Chloe? I haven't been this clear-headed in a long time, and it's just, I don't know. These past few videos have been, I felt dense in within myself. Not really shooting on target all the time as I want to. So yeah, Chloe does know about this, which leads me to the SRUT, SRUT level 3. And this is something I did in past two videos that I deleted. I didn't like the way it worked out. Um, what I'll do is I'll upload the video tonight, but then maybe I'll edit the description and show you this. The Shroot 3 was the word Shroot. When you look it up on Google, there's a lot of definitions for it, but you want the one that leans towards the ancient Indian, um, right? Which are the ancient wisdom texts called the Upanishads. Illumined sages share flashes of insight, the result of their investigation into consciousness itself. All right? In extraordinary visions, they experience directly a transcendent reality, which is the essence or self of each created being. They teach that each of us, each self, is eternal, deathless, one with power that created the universe. So when I looked up Surut in India was the most adequate interpretation, which was enlightened, illumined, knowing, understanding. It was a progression of knowing more, right? Which ties into that illustration I showed you. And then I just got curious and I'm said, let me get the book that kind of talks about that, and that way I can know more, right? And it's this one right here. I think it's backwards. I don't know if you could actually read this, but I'll post a link. But most importantly, I'll post the video, right? And we'll get that out of the way. Well, thank you guys for watching. The reason mostly I did the video was for the reptilian information that we have. They're finding their place to stay, and we're getting them out of the way. Also, the transition is very important as well, and the illustration blows my mind. So I'd like you guys to have a good rest of your, have a good night, and thanks for watching my videos.